I mean, honestly, it's your ability to do life, right? And I think that's what, whether I hit my wall or when I stopped reffing, I realized that things weren't coming as easy to me anymore. I remember just taking down Christmas decorations off the house, and I was like winded.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? This is not good, because you know what? Family probably wants to do something later in the day, and I'm just beat. Right?
I'm gonna need a nap.
And I'm gonna need a nap, right? So yeah, I think that's the end goal.
I am an everyday athlete.
I am an everyday athlete.
I am an everyday athlete.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jarrett Baston here with Mark McCain. You're listening to Everyday Athlete, a podcast devoted to bringing you the amazing stories behind the lives of day-to-day CrossFit athletes like yourself. And we have a longtime member, Mr. Kenny Ash, here today. Welcome, Kenny.
Thank you. Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, fantastic. So really just want to start off and kind of figure out, where are you from? Are you from the area here, like Northern Kentucky?
Tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually grew up in Westchester, up in that area. So married a Kentucky girl that everybody knows around the gym, and got pulled across the river.
Sorry.
So
You have to kind of hover on the mic.
So actually we've been down here, I believe, probably about 12, 13, 14 years.
Wow.
So Northern Kentucky is now the second home. So been here a while.
Fantastic. Are you, so we'll jump right into that story, because it's a pretty good one. For all the people that listen to the first 5 minutes, stop listening. How did you and Jenny meet?
Wow, we're gonna start with that right
I
off
want
the
to start.
bat.
I want to start with this, because
Shots
we
fired.
can go a lot of different directions, but this is one of my favorite stories that I think I've ever heard.
All right. So I in the previous past, I refereed professional ice hockey. So that's what that's kind of my
Like the NHL?
So did all the minor leagues underneath the NHL. So if you think of it like in terms of baseball, like AAA and AA. So there's the American Hockey League and there's the East Coast Hockey League.
The EHL. What are the Cyclones in?
That's ECHL.
ECHL.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time doing that. I actually retired from that about 5.5, 6 years ago, coming up. But anyways, to get you back to your question, just to keep everybody interested, how Jenny and I met was I was actually refereeing a Cyclones game, and it was like a Wednesday night or a Thursday night game. Not a lot of people in the stands. And
No.
yeah. But so hopefully nobody from Cincinnati Cyclones are listening. But didn't draw always the largest crowd during the week, so that's why you see the dollar beers and dollar hot dogs and things like that. So, anyways, it was in between a timeout, and I was standing in between the benches. And obviously, I've done so many of the Cyclones games in the past. I get to know many of those folks and know the equipment managers and stick boys. And I actually saw Jenny and a group of her friends sitting probably about 15 rows up. And little and behold, I asked for a pen from the equipment manager, wrote it down, and sent him up the stands to give it to her. So
What'd you write?
I just put my phone number. So
Smooth operator.
Yeah.
well, the funny thing is after that intermission, she actually texted me.
Wow.
So I think it was like the end of the second period or something, and I'm in the locker room, in between periods. So we're actually texting back and forth, and from that point we're going back and forth, and I'm saying, hey, two guys I'm reffing with are in from out of town, and we're probably going to go out later tonight. You guys want to meet up for a drink? And the funniest part of the story, it's none of that Jenny tells. The highlight that Jenny tells is when we actually got to the bar, and she was kind of looking around for me because I told her I was there. She didn't recognize me when I came up to her. She actually said, hey, I'm kind of waiting for somebody, because I had obviously you see the referees, they have a helmet on and like a half shield. So I was like, yeah, showed her the phone. I'm like,
That's me.
you're texting me. I'm like, either this is a dynamic failure or a really great story. So,
Oh, you're the guy.
That's too funny, man.
So-
Could you put your helmet on, please?
Yeah, I was like, recognize me now? See? So,
That is too
yeah.
funny.
but no.
Yeah, sorry we jumped right into that. I just really want to get that out there. 'Cause the first time you told me that, I almost beat myself. I was laughing so hard. It's really funny. It's a cool story, honestly.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Rest is history. So coming up here, and so October next year will be 10 years. And we were together 3 years before that. So
It's funny how you can like use like timetables and like I can tell you what point of history that they met because he's like we texted each other.
Right.
yeah.
And it didn't cost 10 cents per text.
Yeah, I wasn't playing Snake on my Nokia phone.
Yeah,
or
there you
anything
go.
like that. So
How did you get in? Did you play hockey?
I did. So I played growing up. I played competitively, but quickly kind of realized, I started officiating when I was really young, probably about 10 years old, and it was really I didn't even start playing hockey until I was like 9 or 10. And funny story there is, I played every sport underneath the sun, and my parents took me to the rink, and they were like, you know what, you keep hounding us to play hockey, and we think it's just probably because you have this obsession with the Mighty Ducks. That's when the Mighty Ducks movie came
Yes.
out. And I don't know, I actually think, maybe if the Mighty Ducks didn't come out, maybe I never would have found hockey. But I'm like, God, that's kind of the coolest thing ever. I really want to try that.
Yeah.
But it took me to the rink, and my dad's hearing the story about how much all of this costs and everything. And he's like, so they rented me some skates and went out for like public skate. And they're like, you know what? If you can make it around the rink once, to just kind of show, because this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And little and behold, I ran out, skated around the rink, and I could just kind of see my dad like, oh no.
Oh, he can actually do this.
Oh no. I mean, I wasn't extremely graceful about it, but I got around. I mean, I was athletic, and they took me into the store that was there at the rink. We bought all the pads and got started there when I was 10.
Man, and that's tough too because when you're 9 and 10, you're like, oh, I'm 11, none of this fits.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. My uncle grew up playing hockey, and so did my cousin Casey, and I actually helped do the strength conditioning for Alter's hockey team, and they're actually doing pretty well this year. But it's cool. It's a sport that I didn't really know a whole lot about, but we talked a little bit before I started doing that, and kind of telling me the ins and the outs and what you need to work on, because that's one sport that is very explosive, very short intervals, because they do line switches like every 90 seconds, right?
Yep.
So you're basically out there busting ass for 90 seconds and then you rest.
Yep.
I can't much to like a work to rest ratio workout here.
Oh yeah.
When you're doing a lot of stuff and you're doing something very quick and then you rest a certain amount of time.
Yeah, you're increasing your heart rate, you're getting it up, and you got to be able to maintain that, because those games, I mean, for the kids' games alone, high school 12 to 15 minute periods, but you're looking at professional games. Those are 20-minute periods lasting 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they're long games. Like you don't really think about. I mean, those 20-minute periods, and then you're at a hockey game for a pretty long time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
It's a pretty incredible sport. I mean, with everything you got going on there, eye-hand coordination, physicality, like you said, kind of that short kind of burst, but just the athleticism to be able to skate. Like skating just in general is not easy to do, especially when you're like jumping and cutting and going backwards, going forward, having got, so hockey is, I feel like widely viewed as a sport. It's one of those things. It's like whenever you see it live, it's like your respect for it goes way up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things, to your point, Mark, I think that's how I got started in officiating, because number one, as a young kid, needing to help pay for equipment, but, there was such a shortage of officials out there, right? You've got, Cincinnati's not a town that's
It's not a hockey town.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think they're having the same problem now with like lacrosse. Lacrosse is booming, and they can't get enough officials to work. So started doing those games when I was, young, 10, and then little and behold, when I was 14, 15 years old, there's such a shortage of officials. I was actually one of the few younger people that could actually do like high school games, and I'm refereeing people that are 3 or 4 years older than me.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
So that's kind of where it started to take off from there.
Have you seen any really awesome hockey fights?
Yeah, and I've been in the middle of plenty of them.
You ever been punched in the mouth?
Yeah, actually, everything, everywhere.
You don't need fake teeth, do you?
I do.
Do you?
I do. So we're really putting it all out there,
Yeah,
guys.
come
on,
Hey,
it's all right.
guys,
Bare
Triumph
your
community,
soul.
it's all
Bare
good.
your soul.
I told
So-
you, deepest, darkest secrets. These are just hockey secrets. It's fine.
So actually, probably one of the other stories that Jenny tells is that when we first started dating, she actually was a part of my whole taking a puck to the face.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And so I have a...
Did Jenny hit you with it?
Yeah, you know what? She's a pretty strong girl, as you guys know. Whole titanium plate through my face, actually. So I took a puck right to the face, and that was a couple weeks after we started dating. So
And she stuck it through.
stuck it through. I mean, she kind of got to put the puzzle back together, right? So I had
You're a
surgery
handsome
and
dude,
everything.
though, so it works out.
Yeah.
It
Thanks.
works
Was
out.
it kind of like a Kanye West situation?
Just
Through the wire?
Through the wire.
Definitely not enough. Not the
No.
drama there.
No.
So,
All right. But I mean, did they have to like so you said you had a plate.
Yep.
Did it broke your jaw? I would
no,
imagine.
actually, so it broke my orbital.
Orbital. Okay,
So-
more towards the eye. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Pretty crazy.
That's intense.
Yeah. So I don't want to jump around too much, but
Oh, we've already talked about
yeah,
the
we
face, the
started. We
teeth.
started.
I
We
mean,
started.
All right, thanks for
like,
listening.
Hey, where are you from? All right, jump right in.
Nobody in this gym is going to look at me the same.
It's all right.
It's all right.
More respect. Like that guy's got a titanium plate in his face.
Good punch, Kenny.
It's like an X-Man. Where does CrossFit? So where did CrossFit come in? So you basically said 5-6 years ago you kind of quit reffing hockey. So
Yeah.
was there kind of a void there? So
Yeah.
you're not necessarily playing an athletic sport, but you are physically working, and doing a lot of work in those games, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I refereed professionally for about 7 years. Traveled all over the country doing it.
How many? Sorry to jump in. How many games like a week are we talking? Like
3 to 4.
3 or 4? Yeah, so that's
So-
you're constant.
Yeah, even through college, when I got first hired on, I would fly out of town like a Thursday night and I'd be back late Sunday night. So I'd do 3 or 4 games. And then obviously out of college, I could do more games during the week. I mean, we were actually pretty fortunate living in Cincinnati at the time. We had the Cyclones, we had the Dayton Bombers. I could get up to Toledo, Wheeling, West Virginia, a couple different places without having to fly anywhere.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd be doing 3 or 4 games a week. And it's, a lot of the people saw going to the Cyclones game just a couple days ago here for Triumph. There's 3 officials on the ice and you're moving for 2.5 hours, and you're not really seeing, don't take this the wrong way, because I know we've got football officials and basketball officials, but it's not one of those sports that you can't call. There's not a lot of timeouts. Even if there is, I mean, you're quickly picking up the pace and running.
Sure.
It's not a slow trot. It's not a slow jog. I mean, you're skating intensely.
Yeah.
Well, and kind of to your point with the puck hitting you, like you have to be on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there are certain sports like a football or maybe a soccer where you have a chance of getting hit by a player, like to the point where it's going to hurt. But something like, baseball, obviously you're just kind of standing there, calling your balls and strikes or just calling outs. To your point, like you've experienced firsthand, like if you're, and I'm sure it wasn't like you weren't paying attention. It's just wrong place, wrong time kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, when you're at that level of fitness, I mean, you can't be thinking about, oh my gosh, I need a break. I'm so winded, or oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just going to pass out. Because if you're at that state mentally, you're
done.
To your point, you're done. I mean, those players are going to catch on pretty quickly. You're going to let outside distractions take you, and then that's where a lot of officials, that's where they don't move up into the NHL ranks or other areas of growth within professional officiating with hockey. But you got to be on your game, and fitness is a huge part of that.
Were you doing anything to kind of counteract that kind of fitness? Were you working out?
Oh, absolutely. So, doing games 3 or 4 days a week. I mean, during the season, being on the road, generally, we didn't have anything else to do other than go to the gym in the morning or do something. But when you're skating 3 or 4 games a week, I really didn't have to, it was more maintenance at that point. Just obviously keeping my lungs fresh, keeping my legs fresh. it really didn't hit me until I retired about 5.5, 6 years ago. I hit a major wall. I never had to worry about what I ate, what I did.
You're constantly burning calories.
Yeah, I mean, we had a meter on us once, and it was a point we were burning like 1,000 calories a game in some instances, and that's why you're worried about. I mean, we had to eat a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, so I just didn't have those same issues. So, I don't know. I hit a major wall, and I gained almost 35 pounds.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, if you saw some pictures of me, very different at that time. And, now, I mean, it feels great. I'm back to where I was. Even coming to the gym just, for a year and a half. I mean, I got back there, but I wasn't there yet.
Right.
Sure.
But, that was kind of a low point for me. I was really trying to figure it out, but,
Did you start to do anything on your own? Like, was it like, wow, I'm going to go start working out?
Yeah. So I did the whole urban active things, just showing up to the gym, trying to do my own thing. And, I quickly kind of realized that I'd been working out with people my whole life.
Yeah.
And for me to just show up to the gym, it was completely foreign to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did CrossFit come in? Where did you find? Were we the first people you tried? Was it like we found Triumph and?
Yeah. So. I remember it pretty vividly because me and Jenny were kind of going back and forth on this. So she found a Groupon, and I didn't know much about CrossFit, and that was for when you guys were sister organizations with New Cup. So I started in
the short time there.
Yeah, but she found a Groupon, and she's like, "Hey, January 1st, we're starting CrossFit," and I probably put up the world's biggest temper tantrum around this. And I think it was more fear of the unknown. I didn't really know anything about it. And I remember sitting at work and YouTubing CrossFit, and I'm like sending her a text saying, nope,
Yeah,
not doing this. And my first workout we did was Karen.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I can't believe you came back.
you know,
This is one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I would never, ever, ever put someone through Karen, like,
Yeah.
within their first, fundamentals, whatever.
well,
you
it was
call
outside of fundamentals.
Yeah.
So it was my first real class.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Right.
Either way, that's an awful first workout to
Yeah.
walk into.
Yeah, so we got through the fundamentals, and I mean, obviously the fundamentals are, you're going through obviously proper technique and everything. You're still getting a good workout here and there, but yeah, it wasn't until we first did the first workout in Karen that put me on the floor and put me in a real quick reality check. That
Those next 2 or 3 days.
yeah,
Everyone has that. We talked about it several times on this kind of podcast, but it makes you rethink a lot.
yeah.
You're like, what did I just eat? What's going on? Why is this happening?
well, to be honest, I think that it was the best thing for me
Sure,
at that time
sure.
because, it quickly made me realize just in a year and a half how far off my fitness level had gotten in just a short period of time. And, year and a half, I mean, that's not a short period of time, but when you look at it from
Your
a
whole life,
10-year,
it's
a whole
yeah.
lifespan, it seems small, but
Yeah.
but yeah, we just kept showing up, and it was kind of one of those things that I would wake up and I'm like, I'm not doing that today, and it comes like 2 or 3 o'clock, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
I love that.
So just kind of got hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's a hard habit to stop once you get hooked.
Yeah. It's a good habit to have.
Yeah, no.
There's, because again, you had that reminder, you had that like, wow, I didn't realize how far off I was. Well, that one day of not going turns into 2 days of not going, turns into a week of not going.
Yep.
And then you get back to that path. I
Yep.
think we can all attest to the fact that if you take a week off, it feels like you're starting over sometimes.
I feel like we all have those moments of, at least I do. Again, I'm not as fit as Mr. Baston, but from a just seeing workouts sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want to do that today.
Yeah.
And
yesterday was a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a certain days where you're just like, hey, I don't want to do that. And again, Jerry likes to ask on here about how has CrossFit like rewired your thinking and about things and stuff like that. And I know that's one of those things that for me personally, whenever I see something and I'm like, it almost to the point where like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, but I'm going to, like, cause I should do that. Like, 5K run. Like, I don't want to do that. I probably should though.
Yeah.
It's got to, work on multiple things, and guess what? It's functional fitness.
Yeah.
And ultimately I want to move. I'm going to move today, so I might as well move in a group that can push me as opposed to just trying to put something together on my own. So,
yeah, I think back to your point. So I was doing the Urban Actives. I was doing the different gym memberships, and I actually found a trainer that I started to work with, because I realized pretty quickly that me showing up to the gym on my own was not working.
Sure.
And it was kind of like one of those specials that every time you walk into one of those gyms, they try to get you to do so many free sessions, different things like that. But I was actually really fortunate. All of a sudden, this, I swear, 60-year-old guy walks in. I'm like, okay, he's limping a little bit. What's going on here?
That's Greg Glassman.
Yeah, but I spent about 6 months working with this guy, and and it's a really sad story, to be honest with you. At the end, he actually was suffering with stomach cancer, and nobody knew. But this guy was in such incredible shape; he was getting through that. But we never touched a weight. It was all dynamic workouts with burpees, with push-ups, with pull-ups, and I think that's what kind of I started to see some results there inside 6 months.
Right.
And I think that after we started to get going with CrossFit, obviously I'm making that correlation that you know what, this is absolutely the type of things that I've been accustomed to doing my whole life.
And now you're with a group of people doing it, so it's that whole added factor. It's kind of full circle of I've been when you're in a large group of people, basically when you're on the ice with somebody, and then you're starting to introduce these high intensity movements, again akin to very much a hockey game, short burst energy and then very small rest periods. I will say it was funny when we had the big strip of turf going down the gym this way. I remember doing plate pushes the one day, and Kenny just does those like they did nothing to him. I feel like, yeah.
Well, when I did my one-on-one workouts with Chris, he always found a way to make that hurt really bad.
Yeah. You do enough of something, you just
knack for that.
But no, that's where the long endurance workouts, legs. I mean, yesterday, coming up the steps, I was thinking about Chris's face on every step.
Oh yeah.
But great workout. That was, kudos to Chris for putting that workout together.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. And that's the nice thing is, you look at something even like today. We'll be posting this later on, but just one of those things where you look at the week and you look at, we do this programming preview so that hopefully you can plan your week out to make those days that are going to be very important to you, right? If you're one that is going to need a little bit more of a push in the heavy weightlifting, we have those days. If you're a day where you need a little bit more of that gymnastics type work, we have those days. So, we put those out so that that this is what's coming up. We post that workout the night before so you can plan your day around it. Because, if you only come to the days where it's a 40-minute just long endurance Metcon, you're missing a huge chunk of your training. And it's very important that you try and get there as many days as you can.
Yeah, week to week, ultimately, we're programming CrossFit. And the programming has seen a lot of different iterations. But I think we've definitely gone back to this grassroots style of, I think the workout yesterday was actually a .com, CrossFit.com workout, which is, again, they put out amazing stuff. And we look at ourselves time and time again, and we're like, guys, how do we use the program a strength, accessory, and then a workout and still fit it into an hour? And the answer was we weren't really featuring our coaching as much. So I think that's an opportunity. Even, on a day like yesterday when you have a lot of different components in a workout that's going to take some people 20 to 25 minutes, getting all that in is a full day. But, for the people that are cherry picking, they're missing, like to Jared's point, a good, stimulus, because it's such a good blend of fitness from a, intermediate to short sprint to long to heavy to medium to short, that's just week in and week out.
Yep.
So I applaud you, and so we can get into talking about you and your wife coming, and now your daughter and your son, and even your neighbor. Like you're like such an awesome promoter of the gym because you show up. Yeah. Like you just get it from like, hey, you know what? I know I probably don't want to necessarily do a heavy this or long this today, but guess what? I'm going to show up and do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that it was probably about a year and a half in. So this is still at the old gym, obviously. And you know what? I kind of hit a point. I was really frustrated. Because I was losing weight. I felt better, but coming from such a competitive nature, what I did, I'm not looking to go to regionals or go to CrossFit Games or anything, but you know what? I certainly wanted to be able to increase my PRs on my lifts. I wanted to be able to see some progression in my times. And I honestly realized about a year and a half in that I wasn't committed. And what I mean by that is that I was just kind of going through the motions. But don't get me wrong, walking into the gym any day is better than sitting at home.
That old adage is doing something is you're beating all the people sitting at home,
But I just had a different goal for myself.
No, I definitely noticeably saw a change in you. And I'm so glad you just brought that up, because it was one of those things. I don't know if it was the CrossFit Open the one year where you were just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go scaled. I'm going to own it. And I believe you did. I do not believe you did a phenomenal job, but I believe you finished like an amazing spot in the scale division. Yeah. And I just remember you pouring yourself into every workout, like giving it everything you got.
And more so than you would had you done it as RX. That's actually, let's take a quick break because I want to come back and want to talk about a couple things. You touched on your personal trainer and how you saw those correlations. I want to talk about that a little bit when we come back, because we did a little episode on personal training and how you can accompany what we do in here. And additionally, I want to talk a little bit about that mindset for the Open, because we do have that coming up, and we just wrapped over 2018, and that's coming up here in just a couple months. So we'll be right back.
My name is Kathy Laws. I've always kind of worked out, so in my 20s and 30s I belonged just to like various gyms, and I think that when I was around 40, one of the trainers that I knew kind of got certified in CrossFit, and so I wanted to try something different, started with that, and there was just this great little core group of people that started doing it at a different gym, and then that group followed a trainer over to the original gym. So I'm one of the original members of Triumph. I think about all the other gyms that I've belonged to, and I'd go and I'd kind of work out in my 20s and my 30s, and being a member here, I think if you told me back then sort of how important this place would become to me and how important the people would become to me, I probably wouldn't have believed you, because you just think it's a place you work out. But it's really not. It's where a huge group of my friendships are, and I just know that there's a community of people here that have my back. So it's just a really, really important part of my life. I think I would say that I know it can be intimidating, and I have a lot of friends that I've talked to who say things like, oh, I can't go, I have to be in shape before I come here. But I just think that, especially as I've gotten older, you want to surround yourself with positive people that want you to kind of be your best self, and that is absolutely what you're going to get when you walk in the door here. The owners, the coaches, and all of the members here, it's just a great core group of people that want to see everybody kind of be the best version of themselves. So there's no way that you're going to walk through those doors, even though it feels a little scary, it's a little intimidating, the workouts definitely can be intimidating, it's just going to positively impact your life, I have no doubt. The thing that I really didn't realize when I became a member here is how much Triumph has helped me grow as a person, as a parent. I'm a better parent because of this place, and I am definitely in a really happy marriage because of this place. My husband and I come here, we work out together. If he has a day off, we are working our whole day around, coming and spending time here. It helps me set a fantastic example for my kids, especially my teenagers. And I would say that not only at age 47 am I physically stronger, I am, like I said, a better mom and a better wife because of this place. You know, if I think about the last 6 months here, I think about the fact that Triumph, the coaches and the owners have asked me to sleep better. They've asked me to eat better. They've asked me to try new things, that, try and take a class or something. They've asked me to find a way to serve others, to kind of be involved in philanthropy. So it's not just my physical strength that's better. I'm a better person because Triumph helps me think about total wellness. Everything that's going to make me be the best version of myself. And that's pretty priceless, what this place has offered to me.
And we're back. We're here with Kenny Ash on Everyday Athlete Podcast. We left immediately talking about the Open, but I want to jump back just a little bit because he talked a little bit about getting started in fitness and finding a personal trainer that kind of, when he got into CrossFit, saw a big carryover from what he was doing, when he was seeing the most results. What I really want to ask is, because you're one of the people here that has invested pretty heavily in some personal training. Mm-hmm. So I think the thought is with CrossFit is that you're getting this, well, someone's doing my programming, we're getting this well-rounded blanket program, but I think the issue is that you're getting a well-rounded blanket program. Yep. So I guess the thought being behind that is, if you have 100, 200, 300 members, you are programming one program for 100, 200, or 300 individuals. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be deficiencies. So if you are struggling with a handstand push-up, but the other 199 people aren't struggling with a handstand push-up, you're never probably going to get better at a handstand mm-hmm. push-up. Because they show up, we have our foundational movements, but then we also have these kind of side cutoff accessory movements or mm-hmm. whatever versions of movements, right? You have 3 different positions in a snatch, 3 different positions in a clean, you have 4 overhead lifts, you have 5 different ways to do pull-ups, so on and so on. So if you're struggling with one thing, the likelihood of that thing coming back around for you to work on it is going to be slim to none in some cases. Mm-hmm. So I think where the personal training comes in is now you can say, hey, Mark, I want to work with you on X. Mm-hmm. And I know you can probably speak a little bit to that because I know you've done a pretty decent amount of personal training, particularly with Chris, mm-hmm. right? So what were the things you kind of went with the mindset when you started doing a lot of personal training?
Yeah, I think that when I hit that wall of realizing that, I'm progressing, but I'm just not getting to where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. Overall, that was the wall you had that we left just talking about, right?
Yeah, about 1.5 years into CrossFit.
Yeah.
These are not easy movements that we're doing by any means, right? So a lot of people, we go through the fundamentals, but, to really visually understand and break those movements down for a snatch or for a clean, there's a lot to that. And I'm a visual learner. I'm to the point where I want to know at what point I'm doing something wrong. And I think that kind of clicked with me that, if I really wanted to start seeing more results, I need to put a little bit more into this and not just sign up for personal training, but just commit to everything else. And whether that was, the focus on personal training, the diet and everything. But, sitting down, I went to Chris and I said that, I'm at a 75, 95 pound snatch. I'm still off balance. I'm not seeing the progression of my cleans. I'm not really getting large repetitions of pull-ups or handstand push-ups. And you start to put programming around that. And
when I hear that, I almost think like, the first year and a half, and again, you're going to figure out a lot. I think that's a very kind of accurate time point for a lot of people, that year to 2 years kind of in to CrossFit, when you're like, man, some of this stuff just really isn't clicking the way that I thought it would be. It's almost like when you're going to work or something, you're like going to work, you're kind of collecting a paycheck, you're doing a 9 to 5, and one day you just wake up and you're like, what am I doing? like, and if I want to get a raise or whatever the case may be, guess what? I'm going to apply myself a little bit more. I'm going to show up a little bit earlier. I'm going to maybe be proactive about, solving some problems or whatever it is. And I feel like, it's one of the things where we might not always do the best job about it is really demonstrating the value of personal training. Again, we're not salesmen. We're trainers. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a kind of a weird conversation to have with people sometimes around like, hey, yeah, you're already paying to come here, but guess what? You can see even better results. Yeah. And it's hard not to just be like $, like to.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's just a money grab, but in reality, what we're trying to do is
give you the keys to the castle. Yeah.
Well, it's not just that; it's also preventing injury.
Sure. And just awareness.
I think that was one of the biggest things for me is that. We're throwing up heavy weight and stepping back and actually doing lighter weight and now understanding the mechanics and what goes into it. But, you'll quickly realize we talk about this in the beginning of class a lot of, where you're sore, what's hurt and what's going on. And, if you're starting to get sore in some really weird areas that nobody else is, having problems with, you're potentially the lift might be a little bit off.
It's like if your shoulders hurt from lunges, like there's something mechanically wrong with what you're doing. That's absolutely right, and you need someone to be able to assess, to just take a step back and say, well, yeah, this is why. Your right knee is going 12 inches over top of your ankle whenever you do lunges.
Well, and again, to your point too, whenever you start it, like you said, hey, my background was skating and doing hockey and like typically when you play a sport you have a pre-existing injury, generally speaking, or minimally you have some type of imbalance, postural wise. And whenever you begin a program like this, some of the movements will expose those kind of instabilities, and a lot of time kind of unbeknownst to you, and until it gets to a point where it's like, man, this really freaking hurts. Yeah. So it's just one of those things, like you said, just being proactive and almost doing a self kind of diagnosis, almost weekly, like, hey, I'm having this repetitive problem with my ankle or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just before today was talking to a member after class, and we can. The human body, the human mind is an amazing thing, and you can truly do anything you want to do, anything you want to put your mind to, but know that there's going to be a takeaway somewhere else, right? You have a finite amount of energy, you have a finite amount of, and like you said, you hit this wall and you realize that I have some more to give and I'm going to try and take it there. Now, like you said, I'm not trying to go regionals, I'm trying to go the game. Well, if you decide you want to do that, you're athletic enough, you could put the work in and improve yourself even more, but you have a job, you have a family, and something else has to suffer. So it's taking, like Mark said, that self-assessment, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally, and thinking like, okay, am I overreaching myself at the gym? Because that's the opposite side of it, where we see people like, I'm going to throw myself into this and not make it out alive on the other side.
Right.
Well, I think it's also, what you're doing outside of the gym.
Sure.
That's quickly what I realized.
100%.
When I talked about I'm not fully committing, is a lot of that had to do with my diet too. Before, as I said, I never had to worry about what I ate or counting calories or looking at macros. Very different in terms of lifestyle. And realizing that, I can't keep coming here and getting frustrated when I'm not providing that level of commitment. It's, I can't be allowed to vent to any of you guys with that type of attitude, because you guys put so much into it. And if I'm not taking it outside of the gym seriously as I am inside, I'm just doing that to myself.
Almost like,
would you like to be on a commercial?
Kind of I think I have one of my Triumph t-shirts on. Actually, Kayla, we were shopping the other day, and Kayla said, "Dad, are you going to buy anything that doesn't say Triumph on it?" Outside of work clothes, it's like all Triumph.
Hey, no, it's not, Kayla. All right, you're gonna be our first sponsored athlete.
But when I heard you say that, it's maybe I'm king of the analogies today, but like it's almost like you're complaining about getting bad grades, but you're not studying.
Yep. Exactly.
You're just not. You know, hey Kenny, okay, today we're going to read chapters 3 through 7, and we'll have that by the end of the week. No, I'm just going to show up to class.
Yep.
I'm just going to check the box.
Yep.
And I feel like that is, again, really a fabric we're trying to really persist and do our due diligence in creating here. Is we want a fabric, we want a culture here that's not just checking boxes.
Yeah.
You know, we want everyone to have be filled up by the time they leave here, in a sense of knowledge, have power from, hey, you know what, I'm equipped to, you know, if it's Friday, I'm equipped this weekend to not make terrible decisions and actually get my food prep in this week and eat the right things and put myself, you know, in a position to plan to come to the gym 4, 5, 6 days a week. You know, and I get it. Like, life is extremely busy for everyone. We're sitting here 2 days before Thanksgiving. You know, people are traveling, people are, you know, doing all these things. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the whole analogy. Like, we want to be the people in your life that lead you right up into the water, and all you have to do is drink.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I'm so excited when people like yourself, Kenny, get it. And you're like, you know what? It was on me, because so many people in those situations, whenever they figure, you know, do that self analysis, and they conclude that, hey, it's actually not working. This program is not working. They're going to be quick to point the fingers. And if it's not us, it's the next people, you know, that are in their life. But you looked in the mirror and you're like, I can do something about this. Yep. And you had the trust to come in and do it, and damn it, you're getting the results. And I'll tell you what, I've no BS. Like, you become one of the best damn athletes we have at the gym because of the work. So it's definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
I saw a mindset shift for sure, and I think a lot of that began that year and a half ago. And jumping ahead to this, was it this past Open, or
it was a couple Opens ago? So I think it
two Opens ago, I think, is the one where it was like, you know what, beating myself down about not being able to do everything RX, right? Like, I think for a lot of people, like, you know, you get a muscle up workout or you get a handstand push up workout where it's like, well, why am I going to do this? Because I can do one, or I can, you know, or I can't do anything, or whatever, the weight. And, you know, Kenny said it was super impressive. It was one of my favorite things to watch, to be completely honest, because I watched a goal set. I watched a goal be carried out week after week for 5 weeks straight, and watch you just sell out, which is what the Open really is. Yeah. And I watched you sell out for 5 weeks straight on your back after. It wasn't like, I'm just going to do this just lackadaisical. Like, I watched you treat it as if the world was going to end at the end of this, you know.
You're deep into that pain cave.
It was very impressive to watch. Do you remember that first year that you tried that, where you ended up on that kind of leaderboard?
Yeah, so I think I was 7th in the state, and the one thing that took me back, I think I was like 110 or 115 in the world.
Wow. That's amazing.
You know, and you know, people, you throw whatever you want out there, like, oh, it's scaled. You don't understand, like, the work. It wasn't like there was less work put into it.
No.
It was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. So we talk about the Open because we have some big plans for the gym for the Open this year, and making it as engaging and exciting as possible. What are some of the things, maybe, because coming from the horse's mouth as someone who did it versus, like, I can tell people that maybe they need to scale. Like, what was the big decision for you that was like, I'm going to do this for me, and I'm going to do it at this level?
Yeah, I think it kind of feeds back into that personal training I was doing with Chris. It's still doing. You know what? I wanted to be able to go in, and for me to do it RX, I should be able to do at least 90% of it, 85, 90% of the movements. That's kind of where I set it in my head. Other people might have different goals. When I decided to do it scaled, I definitely, you know, having, you know, that tough discussion with myself, I wasn't there. I was far from that. I wasn't, you know, handstand push-ups, not happening. You know, obviously I could do pull-ups, chest to bar pull-ups, but could I do large sets and large repetitions at the time? No, I couldn't. So that's kind of where I really wanted to be able to measure my progress, and that's where I
owned it. Like, so I think that the throughput is, the ego was lacking.
Yeah, checked my ego at the door, and
it's tough to do, especially for the guys.
You know, you see Instagram posts, and, you know, check ego at the door. How many people actually do that? You know, and to be able to actually take a step back, take an assessment of where you're at and say, this is where I'm at, but I'm going to just crush it, is it's a different level. And it's something that we strive for all of our people to get to, because I've had my ego checked for me, and I can do it now by myself. Like, I can do it, but it basically took something else checking it for me to realize that, like, wow,
it's tough. But and to that point, man, you just have to have that humility to be able to sit with it, because there's 2 schools of thought there too. Like, Kenny could have been like, took that self-analysis and been like, yeah, man, I should probably do scaled, or he could have just quit. Like,
and not done it at all.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, oh no, actually, I'm just not going to do it.
We see that more often than not too, unfortunately. So one thing that ties into that humility, and I think what that makes you also as a leader, and now you're basically leading the family through CrossFit. So we've got basically the whole crew involved, right? So who's all coming here?
Yeah, so obviously everybody knows now Kyle and Kayla. Kyle being 6'3", I think it is.
Still growing. He'll be 7 foot by the end of the year.
I mean, the shoe size on him right now is crazy.
He's going to be a beast.
Yeah, and Kayla. So they weren't playing sports at the time, and they've showed up to the gym once or twice and saw Jenny and I doing our thing, and it was kind of tricking them into coming on a Saturday. And Kyle loves it, Kayla loves it.
They're awesome too.
Yeah, and they're good about it. I mean, they know that, hey, I need to take a day off.
I love that maturity already.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, they're not doing it 6-7 days a week. I mean, we kind of have a rule. You're going to do it at least twice for the week if you really want to do it. But no, I mean, they're eager to come to the gym. It's been great. I mean,
it's pretty cool to see a whole family rolling together. I mean, maybe different times with your and Jenny's schedule, but it's pretty cool to see basically a whole family here doing something together. How is that? How does that change the dynamic, like at home? Because I mean, you can't just act like, again, you said it yourself, well, I have to eat better. Like has that changed a lot? Like family dinners and
Sure. So we do a lot of pre-cooked meals. We don't force the kids. I mean, they're growing. I mean, they need their fats. They need different things.
Sure.
Than
We've all
need,
been there,
right?
Yeah.
And Jenny, I'm sure you guys have seen, she's doing such an amazing job right now. She's working really closely with Andy. I'm doing it too, but she's far ahead of me. She's lost a ton of weight. She looked great before, but she had some goals that she wanted to meet, and so she's taken it a little bit further and doing a phenomenal job. She looks great.
Fantastic.
But as far as home, yeah, I mean, it's certainly, there's a lot more. Kayla say, "Are we having chicken again, Dad?" I mean, we get that a lot. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely eat healthier. The kids never really drank soda and sugary drinks as it is.
That's awesome.
So there wasn't a huge change there, but yeah, it's a much deeper discussion when it comes to time to think about dinner.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
You also travel a lot, correct?
I do. So
how does that work with do you drop into gyms a lot? Do you do stuff on your own? This is my rest? It probably depends on how long you're out somewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm used to traveling through hockey and then through work. Most of the time I'm not gone for any more than maybe 3 days. Yeah. I think I try to not be gone a full 5 days. Obviously, there's times where that'll happen. If that happens, yeah, I try to drop into a gym here and there. But to be honest, I think one of the other check your ego at the door and reality check, I need a rest.
Sure.
And I try to, build that in before, I think that, from the commitment standpoint, I was kind of going Monday to Friday, come to CrossFit, try to fit in a couple. The weekend's mine. I'm going to do whatever I want. And you know what? I kind of changed my mentality. What? Maybe my 5-day week's going to be through Saturday and Sunday, right? I'm going to be here at open gym, or I'm going to make sure I'm at a Saturday class. But yeah, I try to fit in a little bit more rest, or do some hotel workouts.
Yeah. Sorry to jump in. What does your rest kind of look like? Maybe expand upon that just a little bit. Do you do any type of mindfulness stuff? Is it just like when I rest, it's I'm still kind of just doing my day job kind of thing?
Yeah, sometimes it'll be like, when it's warmer out, I'm usually not one. Jenny's got us running a Thanksgiving Day race, and it's going to be pretty cold.
Jenny.
I'm not one to really run when it's cold, but might do like a light jog, stuff like that.
Okay.
But, I'd like to say I was doing pretty well stretching before. Probably need to get back around to that a little bit more. But it's really trying to take the time off.
Right. Yeah, that mental. Because I look at someone like you. You're just so busy, family, serious job, travel, and then you are hitting it hard with CrossFit. I feel like this is definitely something that a lot more people can benefit from. Is those like kind of mindfulness, like, hey, you know what? Actually, I just like to read a little bit, or like you said, go on a walk. It doesn't have to always be a run, or whatever it is, take the dog for a walk, or just relax.
Yep.
Because I know whenever I try to rest, there's a big difference between like that was a good rest day or that was a wasted day. You know what I mean? So and I agree. Like I think everyone can be guilty, trainers included, of like taking those rest days and not like taking advantage of like doing some ROMWOD or stretching or hitting just
some mobility.
Yeah, just mobility in general.
There's a difference between, like you said, a rest day and just a wasted day. Because if you just sit on the couch, you're being sedentary. Like you can still be active and still rest.
Yep.
It's counterintuitive. And I don't even consider an active rest day like I used to do, just row for a half hour or something like that. It doesn't. It can literally be, I'm going to roll out for 10 minutes. And it's one of those things that we actually had this discussion, Mark, just a little bit ago about, ROMWOD's a great tool, and generally speaking, it's going to be 20 to 25 minutes. And I guarantee you all of us waste probably 25 minutes before we go to bed every night anyways.
Right.
Could be spent doing some, even, again, 10 passes on a foam roller on your quads, your calves, your IT bands.
And if you can actually do it with the phone away. Actually like,
my warm-up usually takes about an hour, but it actually takes 10 minutes.
Because they'll do those breathing exercises and stuff like that. And when you talk about, your different systems within your body, like just concentrating on your breath and clearing your mind, because of just everyone is just so connected at all times.
I think the other thing, listening to your body, and kind of a shout out to Dr. Aaron,
Sure.
He was just down there, by the way.
He's probably going to text me. He's going to be like, I haven't seen you in a little while, but that was kind of another thing. It's my rest days, going and getting realigned, or massage from Aaron, doing things like that. Those are things I kind of probably took for granted before. And, they sound like some people might think that those are unneeded, but when you're putting your body under that kind of continuous stress, it goes a long way.
And when you've established like it's the long game, it's like, oh well,
this isn't even a 5-year plan.
Right.
It has to be a lifetime plan, because again, it's not like you're going to get to this peak level of fitness and then that's it. Like you get to a peak level of fitness, and then as soon as you stop, it starts to go down.
Yep.
Right.
So we have to get a maintenance period, and that maintenance period has to include some sort of recovery. And I tell people when they start here, because it'll be day one is a soul crusher for a lot of people. When they, squats basically a pulling motion and a pushing motion. Well, if you haven't done anything, you're going to be real sore. And then the day two is, hey, we're asking a lot out of your body every day here. The more you do here, the more you have to do to take care of it. Again, everything. There's no free lunches in nature. Everything that you do is going to have an affecting result. So if you just pile on more work, physical or mental, if your actual job, pile on more, something is bound to break. And in some cases, it's your body.
Yeah.
So I just think it's very important to be able to have some sort of plan, at least a go-to for your recovery.
Again, I think the magic word is discipline. It's tough.
Yep.
It's tough to plan 10 minutes. Believe it or not, like even saying that sounds ridiculous, but it is tough to plan 10 minutes to stretch. But if you are consistent with it, however many days it is to form a habit, 30, whatever it is, I guarantee, Kenny, your odds go up whenever your wife, your daughter, your son all go to gym with you.
Oh yeah.
And you have that support group around you, that constant like reassurance, like, oh yeah, we are going to eat healthy tonight. We are going to stretch out and do positive things.
Absolutely. We always when we kind of close things out here, this is always a question that's fun to ask, and and I'm sure if you've listened before, you've heard it. So you have a wide array of physical background, and you've been with us for some time. So interested to hear what is your definition of fitness?
You know, and I hate to say it, because if you listen to any of Glassman's programming or podcasts or talk, I mean, honestly, it's your ability to do life, right? And I think that's what, whether I hit my wall or when I stopped reffing, I realized that things weren't coming as easy to me anymore. I remember just taking down Christmas decorations off the house, and I was like winded. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? This is not good, because you know what? Family probably wants to do something later in the day, and I'm just beat. Right?
I'm gonna need a nap.
And I'm gonna need a nap, right? So yeah, I think that's the end goal. To your point, Jared, is that, you know, when that day of retirement finally does come, you know, me and Jenny want to be able to go and enjoy ourselves, and
you don't
live
just want to
life
sit
and be
around and
healthy,
watch Netflix.
Right? We do a lot of that.
Unlimited Netflix.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love that, and I think that's hitting the nail right on the head. And you know, I think that should be. I'm biased, but I think that should be everyone's goal. You know, to be able to live an active life.
Yeah, fantastic. So just a couple pointers here. We did talk a little bit about personal training. We do have until the end of January through January 31 4 personal training sessions for $99, which is over half off what it would normally cost. So you can get those through us. Additionally, get ready for the Open. We talked a little bit about that as well. That'll be starting at the end of February, and it will be here before you know it. It's a very short time away. We're going to have a lot of fun things here at Triumph. So we'll get you guys signed up and joining our big team here. So, and thank you all for listening to Everyday Athlete. Join us next week as we dive deep into the lives of those who make us great. Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks.